Everybody, welcome to another episode of Tell Me Everything. I am your host, Danielle Spinelli, and today I have one of my favorite guys I've ever met. His name is Juan. He works at Savant, and he is a just a great guy. He's so fun. He's so fun. Like at the very end of the video, or at the very end of the podcast, I'm going to show you guys a video that we made of him basically taking a golf cart into four-wheel drive mode, almost like turning your Crocs into four-wheel drive, right? He did that with a golf cart and was like slinging it around, and thank God the golf course guys didn't notice us. And anyways, he's lots of fun. He's my tequila drinking buddy, and you guys are just gonna love him. So he's a entrepreneur, tech savvy type of guy, and really like one of those type of guys who think big picture, especially globally on logistics, which I think is very interesting and rare these days. I hung out with him in Atlanta for a networking event. And during that time, it was so fun because he's like telling me all these ideas of like, hey, how, I don't understand why people aren't creating their own freight by going after these guys. All these tariffs are happening, go after these guys in other countries. So we'll talk a bit about that too, because I think that's an interesting take on how to, in a down market, how to really turn things upside down. And because of all this opportunity that's out there right now with it being a down market and with all these different tariff changes, it's a way to think of something a little bit differently and kind of get your wheels turning in your head, right? Like, how do I do this? Maybe you need to talk to some other people, maybe talk to Juan about it. He's awesome. So he's the founder of Savant, and he'll talk a lot about that. He's a new dad. He's a 1-year-old, super cute kid, my motorcycle enthusiast, gamer, kind of all the awesomeness that he is. So excited for you guys to meet him. You guys are gonna love Juan, and let's get going. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm super excited to have you on because we are besties. We're tequila besties, is what I like to say. Yeah, we ruled out golf course at that was Broker Care Summit, right?
Yes, Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
Yeah. Because before that, I had met your boss Jay in Arizona, and it was also fun in Phoenix.
Jay is quite a character. I love that guy. He's
Yeah, he
wild and
is.
crazy.
Yeah, we're both motorcycle lovers,
Yeah.
so we got that in common. Although
How
ever
many?
since I have not gotten on a motorcycle.
Ever since when?
Ever since I had my kid. So
Oh,
me and my wife had a son a year ago, just about a year ago, and since then I haven't driven anything on two wheels. But planning to do so soon.
yeah. What kind of bike do you
It's
have?
boring for so long, and then it's just like you need to do something.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm trying to be safe, a safe dad, and be there for my kid. But then it's like,
It's
sorry,
like,
sorry, kid. If I make it, I make it.
yeah, I need to shake it off a bit.
What kind of bike do you have?
I have a BMW 850 GS. It's
Okay.
like a touring enduro bike, pretty big one.
Yeah.
Mostly, I don't get off road. I'm not that skilled yet, but I do like the idea of getting into enduro really much. Like I
Yeah.
would like a bike that I could do that like motocross stuff. Now that's going on all the way on the right spectrum of this is dangerous, but it does seem exciting. I mean, life needs some sort of excitement.
Yeah, no, totally. I do like I wake surf and wakeboard. I don't really wakeboard anymore, but I wake surf and jet ski and stuff. So that's my
I
whatever
mean,
things.
that's edgy.
I guess, yeah. I grew up doing all that. I grew up on the lake, so I grew up doing all that. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Northwest Chester, New York,
Okay.
upstate, a little town called Peekskill. I went to school there. Was there until about when I was 10. I'm a very weird reverse immigration case. Me, my mom and my dad, we lived in the US. We came to Colombia for vacations, and vacations became very long. So 16 years later, I did all the way elementary school, all the way to half of middle school. And then I finished middle school and high school, which is the same thing here in Colombia because they don't have a distinction between, elementary, middle, and high school. I ended up finishing high school here in Colombia. I'm doing college here as well.
Oh wow.
I never lost the English because I did learn English first. I would say that's my mother's language. And
Mm-hmm.
then I had to learn Spanish when I came to Colombia. So there was a interesting part of my life where I was like, I had a very thick accent in school, and it made me very prone for bullying.
Oh really? So
Yeah.
there's a thick accent on the English side in Colombia or the other way?
Yeah. I'm the Spanish side.
Okay.
So being called a gringo at school, looking at how I
I was
look,
gonna say you have
was
no
pretty
accent.
normal. Yeah, pretty normal. But
Yeah.
I got a hang of it in about 3 4 years of being exposed to it like on a daily basis. Then my English got a little shabby by the time I made it to my work life. But with having English, that opened a lot of doors. So kind of like put me on track to be in this whole outsourcing thing.
Yeah.
Been 15 years in it, so it gave me a lot of opportunities to practice and get back on my feet.
How did you get so you did you immediately get into logistics and right after high school, or how did that even start?
No, no, my first job was selling refinancing, mortgage refinancing for Wachovia Bank. Then I moved on to Quicken Loans. Then I did customer support for Fannie Mae. And then one day I was selling aircraft parts for a company called Data Access that had like an
Oh, wow.
inventory for like aircraft. Aircraft on ground is like a code blue in a hospital. Somebody's having a heart attack, at least in the financing department. So we would help aircraft companies find parts for what they needed to repair. And after that, I was in all over the place. I sold insurance for the transportation industry. So I used to sell liability insurance, motor truck cargo. And then I would sell them general liability policies or business owners policies. Then I would call them to sell them their house, their boat, their car, their life insurance.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got into logistics.
Okay.
I didn't know about the brokerage model, but I did know that when customers started not getting freight, and I had a lot of customers in Texas, I would call companies to see if they had freight for them. So I would kind of connect them, but I didn't know the brokerage thing was a thing. I didn't charge a fee. I just didn't want them to cancel my policy.
Right. You're like, "Please stay in business."
Yeah, because if they did, I would get a backdraft on my current month's commissions from their policy canceling. So I had some BOPs with companies like Sprint Sand and Clay in Houston, Texas, and stuff like that. So if a customer had a dump truck and they didn't have anything to do, I was like, hey, I have a friend over there, and I just send them their contact information, and they would start moving sand, clay, and building materials for them, and that would keep the policy active, and that was great.
Right? That's hilarious.
Because if they don't have a job, they can't obviously the truck, but then the homeowner's policy is also like a month down the road, and then the car policy, and this is like
Right.
it's a whole trickle down effect. So I did that for about 3 years. That was like one of my first company startup projects. Then I went back into the business life of being an employee, and I worked for a medical transportation company, and I worked for AT&T, and that's all from here, from Colombia.
Okay. What did you do at AT&T? I worked at, Windstream, which is a telephone company too.
So I started out as a billing department account supervisor. So my team was supposed to receive phone calls of very angry Americans that were calling because their bill suddenly doubled up because their promotion went off. And at the same time, we were supposed to upsell them to upgrade them to the next package, which
Yeah.
they were going to pay more in 6 months, but we got them a discount, and AT&T had those expectations on it, which was pretty fun because that cross sell was extreme. I mean, and the goals and the metrics that we had to hit were ridiculous. I mean, 10 people were making $5 million in sales a week. I mean,
Right.
AT&T is just a money making machine. It's crazy. But in order to get there, oh my God, like the amount of work, the amount of times you got to get cursed out of.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny because I did the same thing. I worked in a call center, and so basically taking billing calls, transitioning into sales, and I was their top sales rep for I was almost there for 10 years. I think I was like right like a month shy of 10 years. I was a top sales rep the whole time. But like you said, like then I transitioned into supervisor escalation calls. So then it's like it's a fine art between making somebody like super mad or they're coming in super mad and hot and then making them be like happy and they buy stuff from you and you're like, I mean, that's an art.
Yeah, and it's funny because like the people under me was like, "Oh, you have a nice job," and I was like, "No, I get all the shit calls.
Right. Yeah.
Like you get 100 calls a day, but you get like 2 3 mad customers. All my calls are mad customers.
Right. And they're
All my
like
escalations are
cussing
mad
you
customers.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
once
It's
fought with a lady for 3 cents for about 40 minutes. I just was not in the mood to give her those 3 cents because she was like, "Why am I being charged taxes?" And some lady from Alabama, and
yeah.
I was like, "Well, you're gonna have to write a letter to your congressman." But I cannot adjust for taxes. This system does not allow me. And bullshit, I could, but I didn't want
Yeah.
to.
Oh my God. That's so funny. I did the
Not a
exact same
percent.
thing. That's
And I
so
had
wild.
I had my manager looking me from like 5 aisles down the corridor, looking at me like I am going to kill you because he was listening to that call.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, I'm dying on
Yeah.
these 3 cents.
Well, it's funny how I think from that too, like I'm sure you're like this as well. So whenever I have like a billing dispute and I have to call into some like business, I always get my way because I know exactly what to say, know exactly how to handle it. Cause we did that. You can't be a jerk about it. You gotta be like, whining like, "Oh my god, you're so helpful, you're so great," and like, "Oh, what about this? Like, this seems weird, like, can you help me anything on that?" And, like, being like, obviously you get way more, flies with honey than vinegar, but
I mean, the thing is that in the US, the customer always gets what he wants or she, right? That does not apply here in Colombia. It really
yeah.
does. I mean, I've sued a bunch of companies over shit that they've done wrong with the billing side and stuff. I mean, I had a loan where a company they lent me like let's say $3,000 for my stuff for my college, tuition costs, right?
Mhm.
I paid 9,000,
Jeez.
and I paid that for like 5 years, and I was like, what the heck is going on? How is it that I make a capital adjustment, a payment for $500 to capital adjustment, and that just went nowhere, right? It just went
Oh,
nowhere.
wow.
It took a lawyer and 12 months to get that shit sorted out. It's not a phone call and bitch and stuff like that. And
Right.
it's mostly like that with just about everything. If you have a dispute, like recently, beginning of the year, somebody stole my identity here in Colombia to open a cell phone account. Like
Oh,
days old
dang.
cell phone line, right?
Yeah.
$15 cell phone line. Not a big deal. Well, it wasn't me. I've never been in that part of the country. I go to the company. I was like, y'all open an account on my name and we got trouble.
Yeah.
It took them 15 days and a lawyer to telling them like because I had some fiduciary responsibilities with some real estate projects that I was involved in at that point, and they were getting at risk because the loan for the real estate was at risk because of it.
Oh my
Because
god.
obviously the person got the phone, and they got the line, and then they went and disappeared.
Yeah, of
So then the
course.
company is like, hey, you didn't pay. And then they go do the internal investigation, and it's like, oh yeah, we noticed that there's like some manipulation on some forgery on the documents. We're sorry, we're going to take that report off. And it's like, wait, that doesn't stop there. If
Right.
my says no to this and I have these fiduciary responsibilities with this construction project, y'all are paying it. And they
Right.
didn't like that at all. They went and fixed that right away, but it took them like 17 days to do that. And then afterwards, my bank gave me shit for like 2 months.
Yeah, I'm
And it's
sure.
not like you can just don't call and bitch about it here. It just doesn't work like that. They have legally 15 days to just make you wait for making you wait.
Really?
Yeah, even after you call,
That's crazy.
even after you get the case escalated, it's 15 days. And they take their 15 days, and I mean business days. And in Colombia, we have so many holidays, Daniel. Like,
Really?
we got like 19 holidays. I don't even know because I don't take them. I
Jeez.
usually work on American schedule. But we have like 19 holidays. So if next Monday, for example, is one of those holidays, that don't count. They don't work. That
That's so
extends that
crazy.
whole wait time for another day. And that's very common here.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild. So it's crazy how many companies are transitioning into like Columbia area. Like I feel like that's like the hot spot for outsourcing. Would you say that's about right, or is it kind of everywhere?
I have a deferred opinion on that. I have like this ambiguity with the whole staffing thing in companies hiring here in Colombia. One, it's true. It had a surge 2019, 2020, 2021. At the moment, I think that appetite is disappearing.
Yeah.
The traction that staffing in Colombia had 4 years ago versus where it is right now is much lower. We obviously have the phenomenon of AI, which is something that didn't exist 4 years ago, and a lot of buzzwords, a lot of providers out there promising heaven and earth, and when you go look at it, it's smoke and mirrors. Amazon, for example, with their remember those shops they had with the cameras and all that, and the AI was supposed to like tell you what you grabbed from the shelf, from the shelf, and you just walked out and it charged it to your card. Well,
Right.
that was like 1,000 or 1,500 Indian agents like looking at cameras at all moments and
Oh,
figuring it.
really?
Yeah, it came out in the news. I'm not making that up.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So in AI, if you look at it, there's a few jokes out there on the internet on Reddit. It's like AI is an Indian, right? There was there was this other I posted about this on LinkedIn. I forget the name of the company, but there was this other company that raised like $4 billion or something of that sort. And you were supposed to tell it, hey, I want, Daniel wants the tell me everything app, right? And it was supposed
Right.
to do it in 30 minutes, the AI doing it. And then they ended up looking at it, and the guy had like 4,000 developers in India doing the requests, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's still the buzzword is still attracting a lot of wrong talent and wrong projects. And it's still at a point where it's hard to say. It's hard to
Yeah.
say. I know there's more interest in hiring low cost talent solutions in the Far East. I think I've seen a migration of taste when it comes to like, oh yeah, no, like what is it that we want? And
Hmm.
savings right now is the name of the game. Obviously, Colombia is a great country we have a lot of talent here,
Yeah,
very well
especially
trained.
logistics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially logistics, really good English, college degree backgrounds, very smart people. But it's at a point where it's like so much attraction, so much demand from the US, from Colombia. Obviously, it raised the rates of what, we were paying
Mm,
employees, for example, back in 2019. Right now we're paying three times that value, just basic salaries, right?
right.
And Colombia has a very funny economic dynamic where the minimum wage is not pegged to the economical growth of the country. So if inflation goes up 10%, minimum wage goes up 10%. And that's kind of how like politicians here keep the poor content, to say it like that. Because if the economy grows 3%, I do not understand how you explain to a company like we're going to raise minimum wages 10%, right?
Right.
And ever since we had COVID, it's been 2, 3 years where that's been the average phenomenon. Like, oh, this year it's 8, this year it's 9, that year is 7. And you start accumulating. We've had like 25% accumulated year over year since 2020 plus on minimum wages. Obviously, that affects the people that make more. Bilingual agents don't make minimum wages.
Right.
And depending on the company that you go to, you can see 2x, 3x, 4x the salary, the minimum wage as the rule. So as the
Interesting.
deadline goes up, obviously the top line goes up as well. And that's
Mm,
where countries where they're not as heavily laborly regulated as Colombia, because Colombia is one of those countries which it's very on the far left when it comes to labor law. Judges are very in pro of the employee versus the employer,
yeah.
just like in the Netherlands. But countries like Philippines and India, they're very deregulated on that sense. Like
Yeah.
over there, it's just the Wild West, and that's why you have so much fraud coming from places like Kolkata, New Delhi, and so on. Like if you look at like internet scams, South Africa and Far East India, Philippines, Singapore, Bangladesh, like those are the areas that it's all coming from in its vast majority, and that's one of the problems the industry has in itself, which is fraud.
Right.
I know there's Romania is no one that's coming up.
A lot of the stands like
Like
Kazakhstan and
stands,
all
yeah, the
those things. Yeah.
stands. And I think that's one of those things that keeps coming up to me. It's just a matter of ethics, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to these things, and every country has its own culture and so on. But at least, I mean, Colombians are well known for a myriad of bad reasons. But one of the reasons I wanted to start so on is like I got tired of that myriad of wrong reasons.
Right.
Um, one of my first jobs was in one of those. Do you remember those old school desks they sold for in home center for your kid to study? Right, it was like
Oh
this
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah. Yeah,
that
like the
you do
tutoring.
yourself, yeah, with a big ass screen, and
Yeah.
that we would say like, oh, that's not bad. No, that's not bad. But we were like those Mexican lawn chairs, the white ones, plastic ones. That's
Yeah.
where we were sitting. No AC. Carpet smelled like
Oh my
cheese.
god.
It was a sweatshop, but I didn't know that. Of course, it
Right,
was my
you were
first job.
young.
They were paying me two times the minimum. I was like super happy about that. My mom was super happy about that. So I started working early at about 17 years. When I was about 17, I didn't have my ID.
Right.
But I got a job making two times the minimum. My mom was ecstatic, and I was as well. Right off
Right.
right out of school, great.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I definitely, like, when at a certain point decided I wanted to start my own company is like, is this a place I would like to work at? Like I
Yeah.
asked myself that question: if I do this, would this be a place I would like to work at? And if the answer is no, then something needs to be changed
Right.
for positive, right? And that's how I kind of got into that, to being a business owner and starting a company. But yeah,
So
like we're in a very weird spot. Like I went through a tangent, like really hard tangent there, but it's a really hard spot with the whole AI thing, like
mhm.
where the industry is. I was asking Jennifer Romaine from TMSA, I was like, is it me or is it just another shit year? And she was
Yeah.
like, no, it's another shit year. And I
Yeah,
was like,
for
oh,
sure.
well, it's been four in a row, so something needs to change.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think everybody was expecting this year to be better, or at least the second half, and we're into the second half, and I don't see it. I mean, I'm a very optimistic person, so I'm like, everything's great. But really, it's like everybody's having issues all over the place. I think everyone's trying to find solutions in like automation and AI and like trying to make things as easier as possible. But I think that's still so new that there is a lot of holes in it. So it is making it where
I
there's
have a
like,
hot take for that.
you have what?
I have a hot take for that.
Tell me.
All these companies went from automation without figuring it out completely
Yeah.
into it. Like the
Yeah.
same faces, the same investors, so on. They didn't figure out automation completely, and then they just jumped into AI.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't think
totally
we're
agree.
able to figure it out completely either. We still do have a bedrock in the automation space. And automation is not those, fancy websites where you see the mouse moving by itself and filling out a form. Pure automation really does go a level up from there. The issue is, after being in this industry for about 10 years, is I don't see the appetite for these companies to actually renew their internal processes or do any sort of capital expense in or advancement in modernizing their infrastructure, because it's like this: if the bicycle isn't broken, why fix it, right?
Right.
It's making money, why fix it? And that's kind of like everybody's kind of been waiting for like the older generation to start phasing out and see if the newer generation that's coming in maybe changes the horizon on that, because again, like, the tools are there, the technology's been there for 5, 6, 7 years, but most companies don't dare to jump in that space. And once they do, or they go do window shopping and they see the cost of doing it, not only in cash, but in time invested in order to revamp processes, open the hood of the company, go look at the ugly. Some people just don't like looking at the ugly that's not
Mhm.
working, or having other people look at it. And build,
Yeah.
and I just feel it's not there at the moment.
What do you think will change that? Do you think it is where the older getting phased out, or what, not phased out, but retiring, and whatever? Because I think there's a lot of older generations that are adapting. Like, even like I go to my grandparents' house and they have TikTok. I'm like, what? What is happening? But I mean, I think eventually they kind of do adapt, but obviously it takes them longer to do a lot because it's confusing. And I think even like for me, hearing new, even like AI for me, it is confusing for me. Like, I get, like, I know ChatGPT, and I'll watch like things online where I can like get better at it, but there's not like an easy way to learn things. You know what I mean?
I mean, the documentation is highly technical.
Yeah.
That's number one. But it's sooner or later, it's gonna get to a point where it's cheap enough and it's easy enough that you just have to ask Chat GPT for it, whatever it is that you want. Show me the documentation of how to use you.
Right.
And it'll get to a point, like even the guy from NVIDIA was saying, is like, don't study development, like don't go into software engineering, because AI is going to do pretty much build
Yes.
code better than developers. So we're looking at a potential reality. We don't know if that's necessarily true, because we have been playing with these tools for a long time. We've noticed that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, but it's while it gets better, it does help. It does help us build a main, like a frame of work faster than would it
Hmm.
be like with a person, because like it just goes copies and pastes is like samples that it's seen on other places, which that opens the door to plagiarism and all that. But
Right.
it does help build faster. It doesn't necessarily means that I can change my development team for Chat GPT, right?
Right.
Or that I can build a full stack application, set it up on the cloud, and provide 700,000 users an
Yeah.
application that they need purely with Chat GPT. Me being a non-technical person, but it is heading in the direction where, like, at least if you think about it, 50% of operational jobs on a brokerage floor are now replaceable with the Chat GPT.
Right.
At least 50, especially the guys that are not in carrier sales. Like
Yeah.
everybody in the back end doing the tracing and tracking,
Hmm.
doing all the basics, those jobs are in danger. It's just a matter if your manager wants to do it or not. It really
Yeah.
comes down to that. And I've told
When
that to my
really,
guys too, because it's like we're highly dependent on the staffing side of our business, placing positions for US brokerages and fleets. That means that ours are in danger too. And we're
yeah.
very well aware of that. Like, we need to get ahead of the curve of that situation.
Yeah.
Knowing English and getting on a phone isn't enough anymore.
Right. Closes. So I guess tell me everything about Savant. Like, I know we've talked about it before, but explain to me like exactly what you guys do, how you kind of got things started. Like, how have you evolved it since it started? When did it start? Tell me everything.
Okay, so Salon started as a BPO. Now, be like, oh, that's staffing. That's not staffing.
Okay.
Staffing became popular because lean staffing solutions dumped a whole lot of money on marketing and made it really easy to say, hey, here's a person. This person works for you, and it's a pretty simple way of providing the service.
Yeah.
So when you outsource a process, or when you work with a BPO company, you outsource the process. You don't
Okay.
staff for a position to do the process. You outsource the process, and then the company takes care of setting all the technical technology and talent necessary in order for that process to be, go from input to output and give you the results that you want. Those are two very different things. On the
Hmm.
first, you get a person that you speak with every day, and, nice and dandy. You get to meet them. over the phone, and you meet with them on a daily basis. You feel that you have a team. On the second option is we enter information on this portal, or we connect via API to our TMS, and the magic happens, and we don't know how it happens, but we get the result, right?
Yeah.
And if my process needs to change or needs to be tuned or updated, we speak with an account manager. I have no idea how they implement it, but 3 days later, it's already operating and working. That's outsourcing. That's
Yeah.
how AT&T works. That's how JP Morgan works. That's how Chase, that's how Wachovia, no, that's Wells Fargo nowadays.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wells Fargo works. They have companies that are specialized in processes. And I'm an industrial engineer by training. So processes is one of those things. All right. This is your process. We'll implement it, run it, tone, and you get the result. So we started as a BPO. We're doing really good on that front. And then somewhere on May 2019, we go to our first Rate Waves event.
Hmm.
We meet the Lean Staffing Solution Group. We meet the Hub Tech Group. We meet like the first three providers that started like coming in, which was Lean Staffing, Hub Tech, and Savant. We kind of met all there. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's other people that are doing this. I thought I was the only one doing it. Uh, at least for the logistics space. And then we
Right.
meet with all these other people, like, oh, other people are doing it, and they're doing it in a certain way. We got an offer to get bought out by one of the big providers, and we started homogenizing with them in the sense that we homogenized services, delivery, contractual terms, and all that type of stuff. And we ended up doing staffing because our product as a BPO wasn't as attractive to a brokerage or to a carrier. As with the simplicity of, hey, here's the person for you, for them to work
Yeah.
for you, as is, hey, let's take 2 weeks, let's get your process, let's deconstruct it, and in then 4 weeks I'll have it figured out, and we'll start working. You won't have to worry about it. That seems much more complex at the beginning, but in the end it's actually more simple than staffing, which is, again, when you staff with a person, is you get the same old headaches you get in the US.
Right.
They want to
Throwing
make more
people at it
money.
isn't always the answer. Yeah.
They want to make more money. They get seasoned. Once they get seasoned, they want to get another job, or they want to get more money. They jump around. They get sick. Yada yada
Right.
yada. You get all the headaches included with that. That's a problem we didn't have with the first problem, because my job was to keep the process working regardless of whatever was happening in the groups, individuals' lives and stuff like that. But staffing was what the market wanted,
Yeah.
and Lee did a great job at selling staffing, in
And
a point
marketing.
where everybody else had to like line up with that in order to sell. And we did that for a while. So we went evolving from, we were still at a core, we're still a BPO. We still have our BPO services working for a very select group of customers that understand the value of that.
Yeah.
Hey, my tracing and tracking, I don't have to worry about that. As soon as that load hits dispatch, that goes to a group of people that does it. They have all the tech, they have all the tracking solutions, all that. By the time that I come in here 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, my load is tracked, updated on all my customer portals. Who does it? I don't know, but they did it. And they
Yeah.
did it, right? They understand the value of that.
And so
We
you
still have,
integrate with other like as far as tracking and tracing. So you integrate with like the macro point trucker tools and stuff like that, and then take that data and put it into. Okay, I gotcha.
yeah, if it's a TMS that's friendly with outdoor, like third party providers via API, we connect through an API, which is a pretty simple process. In a week, we can have that up and running,
Gotcha.
completely functional. If it's not, we use RPA and we emulate a person, and we still get into the TMS with our customer's permission and go do the updates and do that, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
those two approaches to that form. On my end, my employees really don't get to see a lot of information because my employee really doesn't have access to the TMS. So there's also there's a security aspect to that, because they get on our platform. And one of the things that I can't live without is Salesforce.
Yeah.
So on our platform, we develop Salesforce and all sorts of things, and we deliver TMSs on Salesforce too, to that extent. And so in our Salesforce environment, there's an application where we bring in that information, we put it in front of our agents, and they kind of see white labeled what they need to see. Where is it Where is it picking up? Where is it delivering? What time it picks up? What time it delivers? Who's the driver? What's his phone number? What's his dispatch number?
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
A macro point integration, big macro point fans here, that we have inside our Salesforce environment to be able to monitor that on a normal basis. And that's it. The
Yeah.
process gets done. It's that simple.
Right. Instead of throwing like two people at it, you're throwing a solution. So what are some
Yeah.
other processes, I guess, that other than tracking and tracing and stuff, is there other process that you see is like, for instance, okay, so carrier sales. I know you mentioned that earlier. To me, I think there still needs to be a body there. Like there needs to be somebody. I think you can automate some of it and make it like a nice capacity type tool. But I think with carrier sales, especially because of all the fraud out there, you do need somebody still like taking the time to look at it. Do you
I mean,
I guess what other processes do you feel like you can automate and make easier?
if you look at a carrier sales, you have outbound carrier sales and inbound, right?
Right.
Outbound, definitely a person,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. We just find the right profile that has the experience in sales and negotiating for it, and that's it.
Mhm.
Inbound, very select cases. Inbound carrier sales can be done via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, iMessage, email, right?
Yeah. Ooh, that makes me cringe.
Does but here I have a very very funny case study that we're building on to publish, which is we have a customer that has the weird luxury to not have to make outbound calls. They
Hmm.
post a load and they get 4,000 calls.
Oh, wow.
Now the issue is, how do you sort through those calls? Because you're like, oh,
Right.
that's not a bad problem. It's like, well, it is if you get the shit carriers at the beginning, right?
Right. And then all the rest of them
Um,
are on hold and you miss them.
yeah,
Right.
and yeah, you have a team of 15 people answering calls, but still you're missing 1,000 calls,
Yeah.
right?
You only can do 2 calls at a time.
Yeah.
I remember I was slinging freight, I know.
So, uh, on their instance, we have a WhatsApp, a Telegram, an email, and a live agent over the phone, the
Okay.
AI agent that collects the information from the carrier, collects their name, collects their phone number, collects their MC number, collects their USD number, and collects their rate.
Yeah.
They have a TMS solution on the Salesforce platform. And what we do is we deliver all that information to the Salesforce platform. So they start getting notifications of like, boom, 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 boom. ABC
Okay.
carrier offered 450, XYZ carrier offered 350, and so on and so on and so on. Internally, they do a whole security check once they have that NC number. So based
Right.
on that, so it's like whatever is not viable doesn't even get to that point, right? It doesn't really get to the carrier salesperson that's looking at what's coming through the phone line.
Mhm.
And once they find a carrier that has the rating that they require, security wise, safety wise, satisfaction wise, because they've been in business for about 10 years, so they know who they've worked with pretty much everybody in the industry. So if you have a good
Yeah.
record with us and the rate is good and so on, then they start choosing from there. So it really becomes to like, hey, your funnel just starts serving you instead of you
Right.
serving the funnel, right?
Yeah.
Which is what outbound does. You have to feed the funnel in order to get to something that works out or gets close to working out for what your customer needs for that freight transaction. So some can be like, some part of it can be automated, some other really does need to be a person negotiating and on the phone.
Yeah. So with that being said, what like we talked about AI earlier, but like between AI and automation, how do you feel like that's going to shape kind of like everything else in the future? I know you kind of already talked about that, but what and like where I guess where does that fit in with Savant? Because I mean, you guys are doing a lot of the processes and stuff already automated, but then I know you still have the people too. But where I guess where do you see Savant in the future? Because I know we talked about this in Indianapolis, where it's like, well, I
Yeah.
could do this, and this, and you always have the best ideas.
Thank you. So we're moving more into technology.
Okay.
That's an area that we're continuously getting better and more traction at. We used to operate as a software factory as well. We have what we call Savant Talent, which is the division that does all the talent solutions, and we have another one called Savant Technologies. And on our website, you'll probably find Savant Automation as well. But automation is really just part of technologies at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat like about a year ago, we decided to like, okay, we're not going to do apps for other companies anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to start building our own SaaS. And I'm really bad at saying no. So we have continued. We have,
Of course.
yeah, we're at a point where like I have to postpone tech projects 6, 8 weeks to start because like we just have everything queued up and built up. At the same time, we're also building our own, we're building on our own product to see like if we have the right combination to bring to the market and solve the automation and AI headaches that we're seeing. We don't make a lot of noise about it. We don't talk much about AI because like it's kind of a buzzword. We kind of want to let the,
Yeah.
the flies pass by. Let's see who's left in the end. And once we have our product 100% ready, which I believe we're strongly getting to that point, launch it. Now, what is it? Not can't say just about now, but we did get.
That's
We've never
exciting.
gotten any funding from venture capital firms or anything, so we're really building something that comes from what I see in the industry, what needs to be done.
Yeah.
We got some government grants last year. We got about $150,000 in government grants that we invested in R&D and infrastructure, like physical infrastructure, to have our own servers and so on, so we can
Yeah.
run our applications and everything. We're one of those weird companies that likes the hybrid cloud approach, which where we have our own on-premise, but we also have a public cloud.
Yeah.
And we're building that solution to bring it to the market. Some of our customers have access to it at this moment. We're guinea pigging.
Yeah.
pretty much with our active clients. But yeah, we're getting to a
That's
point where I
cool.
feel very confident that we can launch something that's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure whenever it's funny because whenever we talked at that was the Atlanta social event or something, and we were talking for a long time. And I want you to bring this up
Meetup.
because we were talking for a long time about how you're like the solution, like. Oh, we'll get into that in just a second. But what I love is like the way that your brain it is like, but you could do this and you could do that, and oh, and then you could do this, and then this would make this, and then and like even like you being in insurance and then basically being their sales agent at the same time. I mean, it's so funny. So the idea that on that same line, whenever we were talking in Atlanta, you were like, I don't understand why people don't. You do your whole thing like you're why in a foreign country they don't take this part and then bring it over here and then do this. And you want to talk on that or no?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I love
You're
your
talking
idea
about
on that.
the whole shifting of geopolitics and what's it called, the nearshoring transfer from the east to the west.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic because it's out there. I wonder. I think there to a certain degree there's short sightedness from the logistics sector and logistics providers.
Mm-hmm.
We see Mexico. Everybody's obsessed with Mexico. We've been having like a rough trade relationship with Mexico due to their politicians mainly, and due
Mm-hmm.
to our politicians.
Yeah,
But Mexico is not everything that's out there.
for
And
sure.
that's where I see that's what I was saying that day is like, particularly there's short sightedness on logistics providers, especially on freight forwarders and people that are involved in imports and exports of, well, if China is no longer or is no longer going to be our main trade alley and where freight is going to be coming from, and it's comfortable because I receive it in the port of LA and then I figure out my customer's, situation from there on, why are they not proactively reaching out to the countries that are becoming
Right.
those producing countries? Mexico, Central America, Colombia, Argentina, South America, your backyard neighbor,
Right.
just suddenly became your biggest commercial asset, right? Colombia
Yeah.
being one of the biggest because we do have the biggest freight airport and the entrance to South America in Bogota, right? Not
Oh,
my favorite
interesting.
city, but they do have the best airport in the country and it's the best freight terminal in South America.
Okay.
That's consideration number one. Not just staffing here, but just like, hey, strong commercial relationship here in Colombia, commercial relationships in Panama. That Panama is going through a process where they're kind of kicking out the Chinese from their ports and so on, and it's opening space for American companies to become really strong where they are in logistics, right?
Right.
Dominating the canal that they built, utilizing Panama, utilizing Colombia as a strategic pivot point to be able to position themselves in a place where once one of their customers comes in, hey, I need iron from a different source that's not China because it's highly tariffed, you can say, we have someone, we know people, or in Colombia, or in Brazil, or in
Yeah.
Chile, or somewhere in South America, and we already have the logistics network to bring that to you. Let me make an introduction. And boom, you have freight.
Right.
But
Find your
that's
own freight.
yeah, and yeah, but that's one of those things that you never hear anybody talking about. There's obviously
No.
some providers that are doing it. Obviously, the big guys,
I was
XPO,
gonna say the
RXO,
big boys
who
are.
knows? I bet they're all over the place. So I'm sure they're doing that. But the small guys that are really strong at importing, that have that one or two or three customers that are their ride or dies, they should be looking into those areas, right?
Yeah.
And into like, what are the actual possibilities? What is the new world order going to look like with this new? I mean, but if you think about it, like Trump has gotten everything he wants. Like the
Yeah.
only two countries that have said no is Canada and China, and he's getting away from them. But he got the European Union to bend over to the 15%. He definitely got Mexico where he wanted. He got
Yeah.
Colombia where he wanted. He got
Yeah.
Panama where he wanted. So it's like that. This dude is striking win after win. Is like, got to look at that and say like, hey, where are going to be our in the next 5 years? Where are going to be our strong points for our customers? Where can we serve this? And that's where I think there's a lot of short sightedness, and that's my comment on that.
No, whenever you were telling me all that, and I think you're exactly right. Like there's like I was talking to one of my customers, and they were talking about how they're working on a project for like moving coffee from I can't even remember what country, but it was some country where it was like they're scared to move the coffee because it wasn't Colombia. I know that it was something different.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're like scared to move the coffee because there's so much stuff that happens with coffee because it's a high value commodity and whatever. So they're trying to find a way to move it just within their country from A to B. And because in US they're so good at mitigating risk and avoiding the bad carriers and kind of finding that, like they're like asking for them to help them in their country. And then eventually that would be moving to the US. So then as soon as it hits the US, that's also their freight. So it's like create your own freight, what you're good at, network that out further than US. Like there, I think, like you were saying, I do think our like the logistics world, like global scope on things is expanding so much faster than I think everybody in the US could even grasp their hands
Yeah,
on. They're
catch
like,
up.
yeah, it's like, oh, it's not just China anymore. Now what do I do? Well, if you're not jumping on, the ones who are jumping on board are the ones that are gonna like kill it, and they'll be breaking in money. Where I think the ones who are just waiting on something to happen here is gonna, have a hard time.
I do find funny that all these like all the influencers on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, they're all talking about find your niche, find your niche. What is
Yeah.
your niche?
What?
What is the niche?
What
That's the
is the
niche.
niche? Yeah.
Yeah, the
But I
niche.
think I do think everybody, as far as like a decent sized broker, like they do have something where they're like, I'm really good at this, or like I understand 100% how to project manage this type of thing.
I mean, for example, LTL brokers.
Yeah.
That's not a niche. That's not what I'm meaning.
Right. No, I agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree.
And domestic refrigerated freight is also not a niche, right?
Right.
We can't say that's a niche. Like your niche is saying, like, I'm really good at bringing cherries from Washington.
Yeah.
It's a seasonal thing, but I get the best rates. Why? Because I get my carriers to work for those $9 a mile giant cherry loads, but then the rest of the year they work for $1 a mile. They have
Right.
that figured out. You'll find brokers that are highly specialized up in the Northeast
Right.
on produce. They actually do have a niche, but a niche is not just like anybody. Oh, you need something refrigerated. It could be beverages. Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Every person I spoke with that goes into CH Robinson, right? All the new guys, they all get the beverages and the liquor.
Yeah.
Like that's the first freight. Like if you hear them out, it's like, oh yeah, we were picking up beer from Anheuser Busch or whoever.
Yeah.
That's your entry level freight. Like the seniors get something different, right?
Right.
As they get more experience. But that's doesn't. I mean, if you're in refrigerator is just about anything. It could be a dead cow, or it could be produce, or it could be beverages. But that's not the niche. I mean, niching down is like, are you the best coffee mover there is? That's a niche.
Yeah, that's a niche. And even like having a project, like we're starting a building here and we're going to have a new facility here, but then we don't understand how to get, like we're moving out of China, we're going here, or like you're saying, and then I don't know how to get from here to here, right? Because they're moving and they don't know what to do. So if you can figure out your niche in that way too, where it's like on a global level, those who figure that out will become the next big boys, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think that's where the bridge between, that I think that's the bridge that some medium-sized brokerage have to cross in order to become big-sized brokerage and get into the,
Right.
big boys club. What you were saying earlier is like very true. Is like create your own freight. Your freight is not just a consignee. Your consignee is not just not like you need to have a relationship with freight generators as well.
Yeah.
And if you can source and you have a sourcing company or a deal brokering company, that's a whole different playing game field. Again, if you're the best at coffee, it's like, well, are you short on coffee? Okay, I can bring it from Afghanistan. Okay, let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Afghanistan
Right.
has great fucking coffee. That's the cradle of coffee. How can you get that over here with all the bull crap? I have a
Right.
really good network over there. Okay,
And
what is it going to look like on the price tag? It's like, oh, it's going to look like this. How much can
right.
you come? How much can you handle this amount? When do you need it? Create your own freight.
Create your own
Um,
freight. Exactly.
but
There.
you have the freight generator on one side, and then you have the consignee on the other. Both of them having one need, which is get my product to where the money is.
Right.
Consignee needs to put that in front of a consumer, so getting his product to who has the need, and the guy that produces the raw material, his need is get my product to who needs to consume it, which is the person that's going to ultimately transform it into an end consumer. So we're in a very funny position because like almost all Latin America speaks English.
Yeah.
If you go to any country, you'll find bilinguals. If you come to Colombia, from the moment you get off the plane, the taxi drivers speak English. Some of it
Oh,
choppy.
really?
Yeah, some of them really good. So from the moment you get here, there's English, right?
Yeah.
Now, story is going to China.
Yeah.
Once you start walking around in China and you see all the signs and there's nothing in
Oh,
English and it's a bunch of symbols, yeah, it's easy to get lost from your hotel.
right.
But
Exactly.
the world's shifting in a very pro-American, like very comfortable for Americans to be able to expand their businesses throughout quite literally a 4-hour flight, because Colombia's 4 hours. I think Argentina is like a 6 or 7 hour flight from Miami.
Oh,
So
really? I didn't
yeah,
know
and
it was
that's
that close.
all the way down. Yeah, that's all the way down. Well,
Heck yeah. Let's go to Colombia.
it's much better than an 18-hour flight to get to Bangkok.
Yeah, right. Anyway, and Colombia and Argentina are fun. They're fun countries.
And if you do come to Colombia, I mean, you can come to Uncle Juan. I'll show you around. Make sure you meet the right people.
Literally, that I was talking to my friend because we were talking about like what's our next girls trip or whatever. I'm like, I have like a decent amount of people that I know in Colombia that would be really fun. Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, and I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like it'd be so fun. So that's I'll be hitting you up. So you'll have to like sorry baby, I'm tour guide mode for Danielle. So
Yeah, that's hard. Getting
I
that life
know.
between business and marriage and all that.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
tough.
I know. Well, we know this with conferences too. It's like you have to juggle a lot.
And you have to miss a lot of time at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But you're still in the phase where it's like you don't want to miss. I'm like, get me out of here. I have teenagers. Yeah. I'm like, they're good. I'm done. But you're at the fun age.
Was out for a day and he learned how to walk.
Oh,
Yeah. I got to
that
see it on
sucks.
video.
Yeah, but still, that's sad.
Yeah.
Sorry
So yeah,
that you missed
that
that.
age where it's like, if I'm leaving for 3 days, it better be a good conference.
Right.
Not all conferences are good for sure. Like
No.
I'm being very reserved to where and when we go out of the country at this point. Not all conferences are good for business.
Right. Especially ROI wise. Like sometimes they're fine. They're good for partnerships and stuff. But yeah, it's like you still have to, especially in today's market, I have to bring home an ROI in order for it to be worth it.
Yeah. I think Manifest, BCS are still the two that I'm very focused on.
Yeah.
I do want to explore the TMSA and conference.
I know I do too.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're looking for sales and we have salespeople, that kind of like makes like all the sense in the world, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to do that one, and I've heard that Jennifer throws great, great, great shows, so I want to try
Yeah.
that one too. That's one I haven't been to, but the rest, I
Yeah, I
mean, I
know.
guess I have to explore the like other industries because there's not a lot of ROI in those other places.
I know. No, I totally know. And a lot of times with those other ones there, you're having to pair that up with customer meetings just to even justify it, which is insane, you know?
Yes, that's why Manifest and BCS I think are so successful on the ROI front. First, Manifest has that application that you could just like start looking
Yeah.
into like who you want to meet and so on, send a request and start booking your agenda. Very productive. Like you get there, you get your meetings, the follow-ups, and they're great.
Yeah.
ROI wise, Manifest has been fantastic. BCS as well.
Yeah.
They have a different approach, not the app, but they do have a very different approach, and the speed dating is
I know.
great.
Well, and they
So
have a lot of networking events too, where it's like the networking isn't so like I'm having to throw products in someone's face. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that type. Like I've been in sales for too long. Like I cannot just feel like barfing product at somebody. Like I want to even see if this would even help them before I'm even getting into that. So like that takes getting to know somebody and building a relationship with them and then going from there.
but you guys have everything.
I know, but I
Garnish
don't
has
sell
everything.
everything though. I only sell a little bit of it.
Yeah, but you guys have one solution for everything.
I know. Definitely Descartes has freaking everything. Like I don't even know everything. So yeah.
How's the corporate life going?
Corporate life's going good. I was corporate, so whenever I was worked for the telephone company, that's whenever I was corporate then, and then I went away from that to like super small brokerage, and then from there to like startup. Not necessarily a start like MCP wasn't a startup when I went, but it was small. I mean, there was like 50 of us, and most of them were customer service rep, like or call center. It was definitely like a big leap, and I have realized that I'm not the best in a sales world. I'm not the best team player, and the fact where I'm not like here to like help everybody else. I mean, like I'll help somebody if they need help selling it, but that's not my goal. Like my goal is I'm trying to make money. So I think that I'm having to try to rethink my head into that, and that's been hard. But
Well, I mean, startups and corporate are very different,
yeah,
structurally speaking. And a startup is like the Wild West. You're just shooting from the hip most of the
yeah,
times.
and I love that because then you get to do so many different things. I love that.
Yeah, it's a feeling. It's been hard to get away from that startup mentality. When we
Yeah,
started, like when we got these grants from the government, they were really controlling on what we were doing, exactly what we were spending the money on. We had to be like very bureaucratic on the whole process, document everything, the imports, the exports, like of the the imports of the products and all that. But funny enough, one thing is like after going along with them, and it took us a while. It took us like 3 months to get accustomed to the amount of documentation and paperwork that we had to provide. It's like, hey, we did spend this money on this, right?
yeah,
Especially with government grants, like they really want to know that you spent that money on the right things, right? That you
yeah.
what you were going to do. But in the end, the results were much more fruitful, in my opinion, like productive wise, as if we had just gone shooting from the hip, going crazy. We probably had burned half of that money and not gotten much out of it. But that structure I'm seeing that as quite the, that renovation moment from a company, and it starts going like, okay, we're in our 10th year. We're getting to our 10th year where we're starting to structure things more like that than as we were doing it, as opposed as before.
Yeah. Which I think there's a fine balance in that, especially when you do get big enough where it's like you do need it. It's very strategic what you do need to do. And it's not so like you said from the hip and like, oh, we'll see what sticks and see what closes and see what people actually want to buy. You actually know what people want to buy, and then you can kind of go from there. Yeah, I
Especially
think
with SaaS products, it's like, what new feature are we going to sell? Like, because there's a lot of salespeople that go out there and they're selling features.
yeah.
And sometimes the customer has a need and they make up a feature on the
Oh,
go.
for sure. Yeah, I hear
It's
that
on
all
the
the
roadmap.
time.
It's on the roadmap, and then they go check with their PM. It's like, that is not on our roadmap.
Yeah, nice try. I know. I know. That's why I do love for me as in sales, I get to work with MCPs, PMs like weekly or more than once a week and like give them suggestions and stuff. That's honestly my favorite part of it is like being able to be like, hey, this is what I'm hearing, especially fraud wise. Like, hey, this I've heard this news story, and what if we were to develop this? What if this have stopped it? And or maybe if they would have done this differently, or we updated this, whatever. That's my favorite part about my job is that actually.
I mean, you guys been a while these guys been around for a while, so
Yeah. So yeah, we have the tool to I think obviously like there's no silver bullet to frauds. You always have to develop new things and whatever. And just like really it doesn't even have to be fraud. Everything you can't just sit on a product and let it go. I mean, even Microsoft makes a new update every so often on iPhones, like their product's great and you didn't even know you could have anything cooler. And then the new iPhone comes out and you're like, "Oh my God, it has AI built in." What? So yeah, I think that's the fun things
I
about
got away
SaaS.
from the iPhones. I got away from the iPhones.
Oh, you did? Oh
Yeah.
man, you're
I did
my
that so many years with Apple. I was like, I need something fresh, and I went for Samsung.
and you love it.
Yeah, I'm
That's
liking
so
it. I
funny.
like the square screens.
Yeah,
Have you ever square screens, just like your TV?
yeah,
Like nothing stealing your screen real estate with a nice little curve because it's fancy.
yeah.
Nah, I got a square screen.
You're so funny. Well, a lot of really tech forward people love Samsungs. I'm like not that smart, so I need something that like does things for me.
I mean, it's easy. It's just like Apple just makes it sound like everything else is complex. It's the same
Yeah,
thing. We have like an app store. It's the same thing. The
it's the
subscriptions are
same
managed
thing.
on the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is that you can move things around more, and that's bottom
Well,
line
now the
pretty
new
much.
iPhones, you can do that. It's updated.
10 years later.
Yeah, it's updated. We've gone better. Don't hate on my iPhones.
This morning, I was having Apple nostalgia. I was like, I miss my Mac setup.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a whole Mac setup. How it all talks to each other is so awesome. It's the
Yeah.
best.
It really
But
does it in an intuitive way. But I got away from it to just change for a while.
yeah. Well, we are wrapping up on well, we're actually already over time, but that's fine. Tell everybody how they can reach you and how awesome you are and what conferences are you going to and all that stuff.
This year we'll be going to BCS, Manifest in early next year, and maybe if Jennifer pulls out another event before end of year, I might be there. If you guys want to reach out to us, my email is j@savant.international. International. There's no .com, so Savant SAVANT international. We have all sorts of solutions when it comes to technology and talent, all very proudly made in Colombia and from Colombia to the world.
Yeah, love it. Well, you're the best. Thanks so much for coming on. I always learn so much every time I talk to you, so I can't wait to see you again soon. When are you coming to the Atlanta? Are you coming to Atlanta soon?
I might. I
Okay.
might.
They
I
have
might.
that freight movement event for a
Yeah.
happy hour thing. Yeah, end
That
of
was really fun.
August.
Last time I ordered 5 orders of wing thinking
Oh my God. We gotta tell that story really quick. Oh
inside
my,
joke.
okay, tell the story. It's so funny.
We're at like this indoor golf practicing thing that I've never been to, although I've been in Atlanta for probably like 5 years. Um, and I asked the waitress, like, "Hey, how many wings does the buffalo wings come with?" I was like, 5. Okay, can you get me 5 with buffalo and hot 5 with, barbecue. And I understood that it was going to be 10 wings. And then the lady comes in with 5 plates of 10 wings each, one out of each one. I was like, well, let's try it. Let's eat this all together. Of course, when I
Yeah, so
looked
you
at it,
ended up
I was
with
like,
yeah, you ended up with what, 50 wings?
it was like 50 wings. And I look at the bill. I was like, it's 3 beers and what I thought was going to be an order of chicken wings. I was like $110. Like, damn, these clubs are expensive and fancy. And then she just walks in with 5 plates. I mean,
How
I
many
looked at
wings did you have? And it was like towards the end of it too, so like a lot of people were like ready to leave. How many wings did you take home?
like 20. I took like
Eating
20 of
wings
that.
for like 5 years.
But that hot sauce that shit was hot. That was
Yeah,
really, really
that
hot.
place was really cool. Like, I'm so glad Sharon found that place because it's very cool. I'll be
I
going
mean,
there
for the
again.
golfers, I had to play golf. The only reason I go to the golf club is to drive. Which, by the way, did you see Happy Gilmore, the
No, I
second one?
haven't yet. Is it good?
You have to. You have to.
Okay.
Like, incorrect humor is back, baby, and
Yeah.
it's as funny as Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
And there's
good.
a scene where he gets drunk and he crashes his golf cart into somebody else, and I was like, that's totally me and Danielle.
Oh my god. Oh my god. At the end of this thing, I'm going to put your video on there. Oh my god, you guys, he is the wildest golf cart driver I've ever, is that the right word? Golf cart driver I've ever met. You were like, he's like, okay, I'll put the video in at the very end, but
Yeah, I
he
tried to
like
drift
flew
it.
down.
I need to
Yeah,
get I need to know where to put the meter on so I can take it off. That'd be fun. Golf cart's gonna sue me. Golf
he's
course is
flying it
gonna
at
sue me.
40 miles an hour, slinging. He's like Tokyo drifting it. My God, that was so funny.
That
Dying
was in a garbage
laughing.
can. Yeah. So yeah, that scene, I was laughing my ass off. Like, I think it was like Saturday night. I woke up my baby because I just couldn't contain it, and I was like, that's definitely me and Danielle and Kevin. Is like, damn.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I'm gonna put that video at the end of this because that is the freaking funniest. Now I'll watch that movie tonight. I have to. Yeah.
It's a
I
good
love Adam
one.
Sandler,
Always
so
have it.
yeah, gotta do it. Well, thanks so much for joining me. You're the best.
Thanks for your
Bye,
invitation.
everybody.